Yo, 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 what up, YouTube? Today, I've just come across a video, which is kind of weird, but we are going to react to it. And it's a video about human slaughterhouses in Serbia. So let's go. Right then, so let's get ready. Here we go. Here we go. Warning, this video contains graphic content that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion advised. Damn. Let's go. Let me just move my webcam a bit more towards here.
It looks like a simple house in a rural suburb outside of Belgrade, the capital of Serbia. Nothing looks out of order from the outside. But in 2021, when police searched it, they found a secret door in the garage leading to a hidden room. And in this room, they found an industrial meat grinder. But this meat grinder wasn't used for...
Wait, what? So, I know what's going to come up here then. It's called the human slaughterhouse. So they used a meat grinder.
Animals.
Wow.
It was used by a criminal group to grind up human beings. They tortured their victims, often decapitated them, extracted the organs, cut them into small pieces, and then put the flesh through the grinder. They bagged the remains and carried them to the nearby Danube River, where they dumped them in the water.
Do you know something? Most people think the world is safe and nothing can go wrong, apart from every now and then. But when you hear stories like this, you think to yourself, like, why? Look at where these people lived. Such a nice, peaceful place. You wouldn't think, just look, you wouldn't think anything like that would happen. Wow.
How do we know this? Because the criminal group took pictures of the process, and then they sent these pictures to their friends to brag. And sometimes they also sent the pictures to their enemies.
They kind of gave it out. They kind of gave themselves away, really, because if they were sending them to the friends and whatever, they're definitely going to get caught anyway, because it's guaranteed to be one friend in their group that isn't going to like it, unless they're all sickos. Do you know what I mean? Like, how long did it take after they sent the pictures to the friends for them to get, like, arrested or whatever? Hopefully not long. Like, bloody hell.
To taunt and warn them. They documented this process all on highly specialized encrypted phones that they thought were secure. They never thought the phone's encryption could be cracked, but it was. And no one thought this whole brutal mess would connect to Serbian law enforcement and officials. But again, it did. I'm Matt Sarnecki, a journalist and filmmaker at the Organized Crime and...
I know this has nothing to do with it, chat. I know this has nothing to do with it, YouTube, Twitter and TikTok. But, like, this reminds me of that film called Hostel. Hostel 1, 2, and 3, whatever. Where people just used to get abducted. And, like, people use machinery on them to... Nah.
Corruption Reporting Project. I'm going to walk you through this whole bizarre story and introduce you to the journalists who connected this group's rise to top Serbian officials.
So I wonder how long they were being watched for?
The only reason I can tell you this story is because these supposedly uncrackable, highly encrypted phones were in fact cracked. And here's how it happened. Most people are familiar with mobile apps like Messenger, WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. These are the most popular services that offer...
Yeah, these are the services. What he's actually going to say now. These are the services that offer encryption. So when you send messages, it gets encrypted before it gets sent, etc., etc., etc. And they're supposed to be really safe. Messenger, WhatsApp, obviously, Telegram, and
for encryption. They are all thought to be secure to some extent, meaning authorities are not known to be able to break the encryption and read the messages. But this group was using modified phones and software made by a company in Canada called Sky Global. They were advertised as some form of ultimate security.
Do you know what I'm thinking? What I'm thinking, Matt? I am thinking the chat application that they used, they knew the encryption. So I'm wondering if they found something through somebody's messages and sent it to like the Serbian police, the Serbian forces or whatever. I wonder if it was literally the company themselves, because they saw what was being sent it to the police. That's what I'm thinking.
In addition to strong encryption, they had features like self-destructing messages and the ability to wipe the phone remotely. Now, in 2019, European authorities started a cross-border investigation because they suspected that these phones were being almost exclusively used by criminals. The authorities discovered the backup servers were in France, and in 2020, a specialized encryption unit is able to crack the group messages feature of these Sky phones. So now, authorities are able to secretly read over 2 million messages.
Wow. So I get it. It wasn't just them that was sending these type of messages. It was like they just had a feeling that it was a bunch of criminals that were getting these phones and using them for different criminal actions. Okay. So they ended up finding a way to decrypt these services.
And this is about the same time that the gruesome murders in the Serbian home start taking place. We can deduce that European authorities decrypted these extremely gruesome photos, grew extremely concerned, and decided to share these photos with Serbian authorities. And once Serbian authorities get this information, they're able to determine that one of the suspects is actually quite famous. His name is...
Wait. So one of them's famous, must have a brilliant life. Well, not now probably, because he's arrested, but must have had a brilliant life. Why would you turn into this type of criminal? You've destroyed your life. Probably now, yeah?
Veliko Belivuk, and this is his story. Veliko Belivuk, who we'll just call Belivuk, is the leader of a Serbian group called the Principi. In the region, criminal groups get very complicated, so for the purposes of this story, you just need to remember two of them: the Kavac clan and the Shkaliari clan. And
the Kavac clan and the Shkaliari clan, okay.
They are at war with each other. Now, Belivuk's group, which roughly translates into the Principled, is allied with the Kavac. His clan is mostly street-level muscle and enforcers, made up of football hooligans supporting Serbia's partisan football team. When I say football hooligans, you might not take it too seriously, but in the Balkans...
Yeah, I was just going to say, we all have hooligans. Like that, I was just going to say that.
It's very serious business, with a lot of history and nationalism, and the stadium has always been a firm recruiting ground for organized crime groups. So Belivuk's group is at war. The two groups are assassinating each other with car bombs, snipers, you name it. They are killing and being killed. But these sorts of murders left bodies. So Belivuk's group developed a motto: no body.
Ooh. Okay, so this is how it goes down then. Like, fuck.
No crime, and a unique place to realize it for their enemies. They called it the Slaughterhouse. Our understanding of what happened is from the testimony
Take him to
of
the slaughterhouse.
3 crew members turned witnesses, the indictment, and the Sky messages exchanged as the crew went about planning these murders. At the same time, it's very important for me to say that the trial is ongoing. No one has been convicted, and the accused deny the charges. This was the first victim of the slaughterhouse, for which we have ample photographic and sky evidence. He was actually Belivuk's friend and a member of the group, but Belivuk got the idea that he was a traitor. Bro, this guy set me up. If everything goes well, in a few days he's going to the slaughterhouse.
Wow.
Belivuk had a clear message. I can't wait to strangle him. From the day of the murder, we have CCTV stills from the home prior to the victim's arrival.
What a bunch of sickos, man. I can't wait to strangle him. And then chop the fucking body up and put them in a mincer. Like, what the fuck? And that's legit true. That's legit what they do. It just sounds funny to me saying it. Gonna strangle him to death and stick him in a blender. Like, what?
Here are members of the crew arriving. This is Belivuk himself. Then the CCTV was turned off. We can only speculate that they didn't want evidence of the victim arriving at the home. But they created their own photographic evidence. We've struggled to determine how to share these photos. It goes without saying they are brutal and sadistic. Prior to the victim's arrival. Then the CCTV was turned off.
Sorry, I just need to go forward a little bit.
But they created their own.
Look at that house. I don't know if that's the house where it happened. I think it is, because if you look on the right hand side, there's a little garage. But look at the house. It's just a normal house in the mountains or whatever, on a country road. You wouldn't think anything bad of it.
Photographic evidence. We've struggled to determine how to share these photos. It goes without saying they are brutal and sadistic, but at the same time, they create a real-time picture of how this technology functioned and also how this group operated. So we are showing illustrations that are based on the actual photographs. This is the victim. They carved treason into his back. From the witness testimony, we know that he was brutally tortured. He was decapitated with an axe and then cut into pieces. He was fed into the meat grinder. They put
Like, what the fuck? Like, I've got no words to say, man. Like, I'm just besotted. Whatever you say.
Put his flesh into bags and then dumped it in the Danube River. The next victim they killed because he was in the rival criminal clan. He was lured by an acquaintance who had secretly turned on him under the pretense to buy a gun. The friend drove him to a meadow near the slaughterhouse. But Belivuk's gang was waiting. They jumped him and tied him up, then took him in a van to the slaughterhouse.
I think that's the bird's eye view of the house too, on the left.
The friend drove him to a meadow
on the left.
near the slaughterhouse. But Belivuk's gang was waiting. They jumped him and tied him up.
There. I think this is the house. I think this is like the bird's eye view of the house, where it happens.
Then took him in a van to the slaughterhouse. And then they started sharing photos with their crew on the Sky app. This is Belivuk.
Wait, are they on a bit of water there? Like, were they drowning him or something?
In the black t-shirt. The man smiling eventually became one of the cooperating witnesses. They cut off the victim's head with an axe. They wrote Korach Pussy on his back in his own blood. Korach was the name of the rival gang's boss. And then sent the murdered man's boss his picture. Let's send him a postcard. Belivuk gloats. Look, Mexico in the middle of Belgrade. Haha. The last one I'll mention was actually the best man to one of the members of Belivuk's group. It took work to lure and persuade these victims. They had to find them, surveil them, and do this all without being detected. He was also lured with the promise to sell him a gun. They brought him to the home above the slaughterhouse. They played with him, made fun of his mask as they took pictures, but at the same time, they were sending these pictures to their friends. They made him think he was there still to buy a gun, knowing full well that the whole thing was a ruse. Then they took.
Imagine being one of those people and knowing what type of stuff they get into. Do you know what I mean? Imagine being in that group of people which know what goes on, and you're just sitting above where it all happens. In my mind, if I was sitting there, I'd be shitting myself. And if people are taking pictures of me and laughing at me and saying like weird jokes, I'd be like, I know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen here. Would I run? Because I think if I tried to run, I wouldn't get any further. I wouldn't be able to get like away. Like, fuck's sake.
Come downstairs to the slaughterhouse. They joked. He tripped. Awesome. Then Belivuk took an axe and chopped off his head. And his friend got to work. I just chopped him up. Later they...
Like, just look at the messages that they send. They're like, just simply, I chopped him up. Like, what the fuck?
They described the victim. He was sick in the head. His organs weren't exactly in good shape either.
So obviously that means something like he was sick in the head. They either smashed his skull open or they chopped his head off or something like that. He was sick in the head. His organs weren't exactly in good shape either. In other words, they must have carved his organs out of some crap. Like, wow.
Sick in the head. His organs weren't exactly in good shape either.
Wow.
And then, Serbian police arrested the gang.
Let's go! They got arrested.
Danas smo razgovarali o razbijanju.
Today we talked about the crackdown on the criminal gang Belivuk, Milivojević, whatever.
Kriminalne bande Belivuk Miljković i sa velikim ponosom mogu da kažem da je ova banda razbijena.
And I can say with great pride that this gang was broken.
Dakle, ono što je naša poruka.
What is our message?
S ovom bandom smo završili.
Damn.
So that's it? The government got the bad guys and it's case closed? Not quite.
I was going to say they got the bad guys and it's case closed. How can it be case closed? Like just by arresting them and whatever.
This is where it actually gets interesting. For years, there have been allegations that the Serbian government is very closely linked to organized crime groups, including Belivuk.
Wait, is what I think's going to happen? Now he's going to say something like the government was part of it, and this the group just got let out of prison and got let back out, ready to roam and ready to cause havoc by killing people and chopping them up and putting them in a mincer. That's what the Serbian government's going to do.
Group. I visited with my Serbian colleague, Stevan Dojcinovic, in Belgrade. He is probably the most renowned investigative journalist in all of Serbia, known for his investigations into Serbian politicians and organized crime. This is what he told me when I asked him about Belivuk.
This gang was very much tied to Vučić and his government, and not just that. Actually, this gang was, in a way, created by the state. Belivuk group was definitely under command of the police. It sounds bizarre, but this is really true.
To understand what Stefan's talking about, we need to take a little step back to 2017, 3 years.
So yeah, they were all connected to the government. And probably got let free.
Years before the Slaughterhouse murders.
So this is the very famous video. It's CCTV footage of murder that happened in the center of Belgrade. Police
Murder in the center.
arrested actually Belivuk and his associates, and later he was charged for participating in this murder. And not just that, also police seized his phones.
So police got Belivuk's phone and made a report on the WhatsApp messages that they found inside. This report was actually first published by the magazine Nin. I also want to make clear that this report on Belivuk's WhatsApp messages was never supposed to fall into the hands of journalists.
Basically, it's analysis of Belivuk WhatsApp messages. When you analyze these messages, Belivuk messages from that time, you can see that he was under control of one really important
He was under control of one of the really important policemen.
policeman. This policeman was one of the top persons of Serbian gendarmerie. Gendarme is telling to Belivuk, imamo jake pozicije, brate. Imaš mene, u 10 ljudi sam u policiji, a tu sam na usluzi non stop.
So let's go back and we need to translate that a bit.
Police, which means literally right-hand man of the Minister of Police himself, and to providing public. But yet, he's still in police.
I want to go now, lastly, back to the message.
One pretty unique thing where we can see that the gendarme was sitting with his members of his group and discussing a lot of things about underworld.
Just a minute, chat. I've lost where I was.
Belivuk group was definitely under command of the police. It sounds bizarre, but
so they were under the command of the police, and it sounds bizarre, but this is really true. Like, what the hell?
This is really true.
To understand what Stefan's talking about, we need to take a little step back to 2017, 3 years before the Slaughterhouse murders.
So this is the very famous video. It's CCTV footage of murder that happened in the center of Belgrade. Police arrested actually Belivuk and his associates, and later he was charged for participating in this murder. And not just that, also police seized his phones.
So police got Belivuk's phone and made a report on the WhatsApp messages that they found inside. This report was actually first published by the magazine Nin. I also want to make clear that this report on Belivuk's WhatsApp messages was never supposed to fall into the hands of journalists.
Basically, it's analysis of Belivuk WhatsApp messages. When you analyze these messages, Belivuk messages from that time, you can see that he was...
So when the messages were being analysed, he was obviously getting messages from the police, and he was under control of one of the really important police officers.
Under control of one really important policeman. This policeman was one of the top persons of Serbian gendarmerie. Gendarme is telling to Belivuk, imamo jake pozicije, brate.
We are in a powerful position, brother.
Imaš mene u 10
You have me, and I am one of the 10 most important officials in the police.
ljudi sam u policiji, a tu sam na usluzi
And I'm at your service 24/7. Wow.
non stop. So the gendarme that need to deal
So the gendarme that needed to deal with hooligans.
with hooligans was actually the boss of Belivuk group and giving him direction what he should do, what should not do, what violence he should be involved and what not. And it's pretty quite shocking to have such a leading person in police. Like the gendarme telling this, it's pretty devastating.
But there's another incident with this police officer that is even more fascinating. It's actually a secret recording of him when he's holding a meeting with Belivuk's men. A source contacted Stefan and handed over an audio recording of this meeting.
We managed to get this audio recording. It's one pretty unique thing where we can see that the gendarme was sitting with his members of his group and discussing a lot of things about underworld.
Damn, this is messed up, isn't it? Like, the police were involved, the government was involved. But did the police know exactly what was happening? Did the police know that, like, people were getting mincemeated? Anyway, we are involved everywhere. And someone's head is in a bag everywhere from our people.
It was some sort of kind of
So, that was a conversation between that police officer and the gang member. And the police officer was there, so he knew what was happening.
team building meeting.
All the information, everything is possible. You have the whole police in your hands. But you are the weakest when you think you are the most powerful.
This audio, it's clearly
I tell you what, chat. You can't even trust the police. You can't even trust the government. That proves it right there.
showing that the gendarme have a role and that he was some sort of the boss to these hooligans. It's clearly because he's the one who actually leading this meeting and saying this. And so this was kind of definite evidence that we managed to provide in public. But yet, he's still in police.
I want to go now, lastly, back to the messages between the gendarme and Belivuk. It wasn't just one rogue police official, it goes much deeper. So here, the gendarme writes,
Like I just said, you can't trust any police force and you can't trust any government nowadays.
to Belivuk, "Be patient, please. Here is Diana begging you." The gendarme mentions a woman named Diana. He is referring to Diana Herkalovic, as confirmed by the secret police report.
This gendarme was just working on behalf, literally the second most powerful person in Serbian police, and that's Diana Herkalovic. She was officially General Secretary of the Police, which means literally right-hand man of the Minister of Police himself.
Wow, okay.
And when he was communicated with Belivuk,
So I wonder what they're going to say about this lady. She doesn't look like a person that would be involved in any of that type of stuff, does she?
he will
We'll see.
say that Diana, or D, using the first letter of her name, wants you to do this, or she wants you not to do this. So literally, he was just passing her commands to the Belivuk. And that's completely clear from the messages. And not just that, we can see that she was not working on her own, because the gendarme
I just want to say something. Has he got piercings on both sides of his lips?
will tell you
Yeah, he's got piercings on both sides of his lips.
to Belivuk.
Then that's a weird fashion.
Diana wants you to do this, but you should also know that boss and big boss, which he never named, were also agree with her. These politicians were never named in these messages. They were just called boss and big boss. Diana Herkalovic eventually, in the end, was fired from police. She was hiding these WhatsApp messages from prosecutor, who actually were evidences for high-level corruption.
So Diana, the second most powerful police official in Serbia, failed to hand over the very WhatsApp messages that implicated herself with Belivuk. So is all of this the biggest scandal in Serbia? No. Diana was only charged with abuse of office and she's already out of prison. Nothing happened.
That's exactly what I was going to say, just. So with what he's just said there, she just got away with like a kind of a slap in the hand and you can't work here no more. Maybe.
Scandal in Serbia? No. Diana was only charged with abuse of office and she's already out of prison. Nothing happened to the gendarme. He is still on the police force as far as we know. The only ones in jail are Belivuk and his gang. And just to make clear, Belivuk denies taking part in any of the murders in the Slaughterhouse. But on another note, Belivuk did testify at the trial that he previously worked for the needs and at the service of President Alexander Vučić.
Wow. So when you saw those police messages, right? The police were saying in a way, it was like as if Belarus was being controlled by the police, being told exactly what to do by the police, and was part of working for the government too. And he was so powerful, these police officers, that Belarus was like doing all this stuff, and he probably even did it on his own accord. He didn't get forced to do it, he did it on his own accord. But the worst thing is, the president and the police knew about it. That's what the sick part of it is. The people that run the country knew about it. Talk about keeping your country safe.
And yes, the Vučić government did try to suppress this testimony from becoming public, but Stefan got that too, and he published it.
Wow.
I reached out to President Alexander Vučić, Diana Hrkalović, and the gendarme Nenad Vučković for comment. None of them replied.
My personal opinion as a reporter, I think the people who are corrupt in the government are even worse than Belivu Group itself, because they are the government and they decide to cooperate with hooligans, with criminals, so they're even worse.
Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Damn, damn, damn. Okay then, chat. Let me just put the big camera on. Okay then, YouTube. Wow, that was a great video to watch, but also weird and scary and like, what? But thank you for watching, YouTube. Really appreciated. Please don't forget to press the like and subscribe button. Bye-bye. Peace.